Welcome to our podcast, Parenting by the Pint. Enjoy the show.
Greetings, Minivan Mafia. Lauren and I are longtime friends from Chicagoland that love getting together to chat about life, kids, family, and beer.
Each week, we'll feature a brewery and sample at least 2 of their beers.
We'll also discuss a variety of topics ranging from parenting, pop culture, travel, marriage, and just about anything else that comes to mind. Hey, welcome everybody. We have had some wonky scheduling with our podcast lately, right, Lauren?
Oh my gosh, yes.
I mean, are we recording? Are we posting? Are we not? You know, usually summer ends and we get back into the groove, and the groove does not exist. There is no groove.
No, lately, definitely no groove.
We have been plagued. That is the literal term for what has happened to Lauren and I the last month, at least.
Yeah.
Between the two of us and somewhat our children, but mostly just us, somebody's always sick, like actual sick.
Yeah. It's been a rough month, I feel like. So
yeah, I don't want to do this one over. This is not a month. You know, usually I kind of like September. This has not been the month that I would have picked out. It's first of all, it didn't cool off very much, and that kind of bugs me. And then there's of course the illness stuff. Which totally, took me down for, I'm at 2 weeks.
Couple weeks now.
On the day that we are recording today. And I feel good now. But man, there was even time a few days ago where I was like, oof, I am not 100%.
Yeah, I know. It's definitely been rough. So I'm hoping we're getting it out of the way now. And then we'll knock on wood,
Let's hope. Aim for October to be better than September. I think that's very possible.
I like it. Let's stick with that. That sounds fantastic.
Agreed. So on that note, let's talk about Flipside Brewing in Tinley Park, Illinois. We know a little bit about them. I'm going to let Lauren share the story. I'm just going to say this is some beer that we got at the golf outing we did 2 months ago. We're almost at the 2-month mark since August. The golf outing.
Yeah.
So we better drink this stuff.
I know we have to, right?
Yeah. So we're gonna sample 2 of their beers, and we're gonna start with their Flipside Lager and see where that takes us.
Okay,
so let's crack this open. I'm gonna try not to spill.
And then we can talk beer, and then talk. This is so clear.
I was gonna say I almost can barely see it.
Wow, super crisp.
Oh man, it smells good.
Holy
smells
cow.
Crisp.
It tastes like it. Holy cow.
Oh,
very flavorful lager.
Yeah. I just want to add that my beer fridge is at the perfect temperature for this beer. I usually think it's a little cold, and I probably should fix that because a lot of the stuff in my beer fridge
this cold is perfect.
But this is perfect. And I do fiddle with my beer fridge quite often. I probably haven't messed with it in a while. And my husband is on this thing where he wants us to drink everything that we have.
Oh, okay.
Which, as a side note, except that my fridge is almost empty now and he still isn't buying any beer. As a side note, apparently it doesn't apply to bourbon because he just keeps bringing bourbon home. I'm like, how many Wellers are in the basement right now? And he's like, just one. And I go down there and I go, there's not just one. And he brought home a different one. And he says to me, because there's 2 Weller 12s in my basement, and he brought home, and I'm sorry, you probably already know, but he brought home a different one like a week and a half ago.
Oh my gosh.
And I go, why is there another Weller? We have 2. And he goes, this is a different one. And I go, how many bourbons do you need? I know what I sound like. I know. Okay?
No, I understand. Also, side note, if he could pick up another Weller 12, Brandon's out. So for his birthday, I could just give him that. So
you can have one of the 2 in my basement.
be like, I just need to, I need to purchase that from you so that I can have a birthday present.
I think that is not a problem. When he came home with the third bottle, which is not Weller 12, it is something else, and he told me what it was, and I've forgotten.
Yeah.
But I was like, I'm gonna give one of these to somebody. And he was like, don't do that. And I was like, stop bringing home bourbon. And I think the reason it bothers me is because every once in a while I get low or run out of scotch. And I'll be like, give me another bottle of scotch. And there's never two. There's always only one bottle. So when I run out, there's 0 bottles of scotch.
And then
I get very frustrated with that.
No,
also,
I get it.
I keep asking for a specific one, and he keeps not bringing that one home. I want an Oban 14.
Oh,
that's what
Brandon's
I want.
Gonna come over and drink that with you. Yeah, for sure.
I want that. Yeah. And I'm like, get me an Oban 14. And he's just like, yeah. And then he comes home with something I've literally never heard of. Yeah, and he comes home with a Weller,
like,
which is not
scotch. That's not scotch at all.
Listen, let me explain geography to you.
Not
this
scotch.
did not come from Scotland.
Not even close.
Want it.
All right, I understand, but I will happily take a 12 off your hands.
Yeah, I will bring that subject up / just do it and see if he notices.
Oh my gosh. All right, and then we have to replenish the beer fridge. So
hopefully we're going to start doing that now that we are almost out. All that's left down there is Old Bourbon County, which is that he's telling me he's saving. So I have to move it to our aging fridge because if I'm not going to drink it, we have to get it out of the fridge.
Keep the space. It's wasting.
That's in my that's in my line of sight every day.
Yes, understandable. Okay, well, this lager is a very flavorful, very crisp, very great version of a lager. This is not your, watered down, not flavorful. This is a lot of flavor to it and is really great.
Absolutely. I went to a Cubs game with my niece a little over a week ago, and I had to get a Budweiser because I know there's Revolution beer there, but I was not able to find it in my section. And I didn't want to make my poor niece just sit by herself for too long.
Yeah.
And so all there was Budweiser, literal Budweiser, not Bud Light. I mean, there was Bud Light, but I'm not going to drink.
But
not when there's Budweiser. I mean, if I have to choose, I'm going to drink regular
you're at least
Budweiser.
Going to go with the heavy. Yeah, I get it.
I was just like, man. This would have really did it for me.
This is perfect.
This would have hit the spot. Yeah.
This is a perfect ball game beer like that.
Yeah, this would have been perfect.
I need a bowl of peanuts in this. This is that would be perfect. I love it. Yes.
I love that idea.
Yeah, bowl of peanuts in this lager. I'm set. This sounds great. Yes, I fully support that. All right, so Flipside. So Flipside's in Tinley Park. They opened in 2022, so last year. Eric and Katie, mostly Eric. Eric is also the head brewer. I feel like this location has had a tumultuous life. So Eric helped open 350. Back in the day, which has since had some, things happen and closed a few years ago. Eric had actually already left 350 prior to their closing. So he left in around 2015, 2016. So he wasn't there for all the controversy and whatnot. But so then he also worked at Rock Bottom, and he helped Milk Money, which is another brewery that opened within the last couple of years. And he was there until he kind of decided that he wanted to come back to the South Side because they're from Palos Heights. So they're from out by us, and open his own brewery. So looking for spots, he wound up back at the same location as 350. So
that's so crazy.
This is a perfect name for that, on the flip side of what he had started years ago. So I think it's totally appropriate, but he wanted to make it more of a neighborhood spot and make it family friendly. I mean, they even have a kids menu there. Like, they cater to everyone. They have beer, but they also have cocktails, they have spirits, they have soft drinks. It's much more of a everybody is welcome, everybody come. This is a place that they want to have a good vibe, a great environment. I saw an interview with him actually on not interview, he spoke when they first opened at one of the Tinley Park board meetings, and that's kind of the message that he gave was, this is not the same old brewery that was there. Like, we want it to be an welcoming, inviting place with great beer that he's, heading up. He's still the head brewer there, but also, kind of revitalizing that location and making it something completely different than what it was when it was 350. So I
That's
think
awesome.
they seem to be succeeding in doing that. I haven't been up there. I've had a few beers from them, but I'm hoping to make it up there at some point in the near future. So
yeah, no, I haven't been out there yet myself.
yeah.
My only experience really with 350 when it was that location was that brewery was somebody on Facebook who worked there saying something negative that I didn't like. I won't get into it, and I'm sure that person is long gone.
I'm sure.
And we're in a different world now with a different brewery that I very much like.
Yes.
And so, and I don't know that we've had this conversation on the podcast, but I do believe that every once in a while you have an employee who doesn't really represent your company in the best light at times. You as an employer get to decide how to deal with that. And sometimes you have to, you got to cut your losses with that person. And sometimes you got to figure out a way to mend that without destroying everything. And I know that's a very delicate balance.
Been there. Yeah.
Yes.
We've all been there with, So, but yeah, totally agree. So you can't have one person, unfortunately, sometimes does represent when they're loud and in the public's eye, but it truly does not represent the entire place, no matter where you are.
Yeah.
So gotta take that with a grain of salt. But
thrilled that Flipside is around. Historically, when Eric was a part of 350, the beer was stellar, always really, really good. And so I am very optimistic about Flipside. I've only had this, and I think the other beer we're gonna drink is all I've had.
I think we had the English pub ale at the
golf outing.
Oh,
okay. Yeah, you might be right about
something
that. That sounds
I don't remember what it was called.
familiar.
But yeah, I know
That
Mike had it, so you probably tried it.
Maybe, yeah.
But anyways, yeah. So, but yeah, no, I'm excited to see what else they bring. And definitely, it's pretty local to us in terms of it's not that far. So definitely some place that we can come in, stop, either buy some beer or have a meal since there's a full menu there, and
I love
check
that.
all that out. So I'm a big fan of places I can eat and drink and that I can bring my children. So they have 3 kids, so I think they did want it to be a kind of place that people like us can stop in and not
I love that.
feel like we aren't welcome. So I'm super excited about having it close by. So yeah. So we're gonna keep drinking this lager for now, and then we're gonna talk about some other craziness.
Yeah, so it would be boring if we just dove straight into some kid-related topic. After all this drama that we dealt with in September, we need to do something totally random and off the wall. I don't know if this will become a thing.
Cleanser.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll do this again or not. We'll see where, the road takes us. If 2 years ago you had told me that we were going to talk about conspiracy theories on our podcast, I don't know if I would have believed you. Because I would have been like, nah, that doesn't seem relevant.
Totally not relevant. Palate cleanser. I'm telling you, palate cleanser.
That's it a palate cleanser. I love that idea. So we're gonna keep it light, you guys. We're not gonna talk about things that are too controversial. No. We don't want to create arguments between ourselves or anybody who's listening.
No.
So we're gonna share conspiracy theories that are just rather off the wall, kind of fun. I know mine is.
Mine is old. Like it started in like the 1700s, so I felt like a historical one.
Ooh, I like
that has kept the rumors alive for decades now.
That's exciting.
Even.
Yes.
Why not? So yeah, so that's where we're going. But this will be fun. This isn't going to be current events or any of that craziness. We're just providing some examples of craziness throughout the years. So
yeah. So let's I'll start. I'll intro mine and we'll talk about it. We'll go back and forth a little maybe, but we'll see where it takes us. So my conspiracy theory that I decided to look into is about cats, of course. I was like, I'm going to look into a cat. There's got to be a cat related conspiracy theory. They're so weird. And so the conspiracy theory I would like to present to you today is cats are aliens. They are not of this planet, ladies and gentlemen.
I like it.
They've been sent here to spy on us.
Okay.
Not just aliens. They're here to spy on us. That's what we're going to talk about. So,
I mean, this is kind of far-fetched, but only kind of. If you've interacted with cats, I feel like.
Well, yes. Allow me to convince you that cats are aliens with a few very solid points about it,
All right.
if you will. So first and foremost, you mentioned history with your conspiracy theory. This isn't really an old theory, but from a historical perspective, there is no documentation before ancient Egypt that mentions the existence of cats.
Okay.
And as in ancient Egypt, cats were considered worshipped as gifts from the gods. So you could infer that means that maybe that was when they arrived on this planet, is during that period of time. No historical evidence of cats before Egyptian time.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Interesting. So, start there. Then we can talk about the thing that most people seem to kind of know about as an abnormality with cats, and that's the purr. Scientists don't know how the cats make the sound. They're not sure. So, one could argue, if you thought that they were aliens, that it might be a manner in which they transmit information back to their home planet.
Okay.
So a feedback, perhaps, if you will. So that's another very interesting possibility. It's strange that they make a sound that we can't figure out. And I mean, as much as you can make the sound yourself, kind of mocking it, you're not really doing it. So I have no idea, They look a little alien-like. Cats look a little bit like aliens. What we believe aliens
cats very much look
well,
like
and if you kind of hold their ears back a little, they have that shape in their face. The gray alien, the classic gray alien face with the big almond-shaped eyes and the little mouth and nose. They kind of have an alien head.
Yeah,
so,
I can see it. Yeah, those what do you call it? What was Mike Myers movies? The crazy Spy Who Shagged Me movies, and they had like the hairless cat. That thing always creeped me out.
Mr. Bigglesworth.
Yes, always creeped me out.
I always think that hairless cats are just a little they freak me out. They do look, but they look even more alien. That is 100%.
Yeah, they totally freak me out. But I could see alien out of those. For sure.
I wonder if those cats, the hairless cats, are like the leaders of the alien cats, because they kind of, that's
they
interesting.
Look even more
well,
like
now
it.
we're
creating
our
theorizing ourselves.
Yeah, I did not have that on the list, so that's a good one. That's good.
I like it.
They have some characteristics that are very interesting about them. They see exponentially better than humans do. So they might be more advanced evolutionarily speaking. They have these huge eyes. Maybe, they're able to use them to record things back to their alien planet. I don't think they're machines, though. That theory kind of goes away from me.
That's like birds and robots.
I do think
that
physically they have some traits that are a bit alien. You can talk about like cats can fall out of a building and survive, which is, I mean, we certainly are not able to do that. And many animals are not. Which I think is another evolutionary argument for them being more advanced than us and other creatures from this planet. They land on their feet, right? I mean, that's crazy.
That's what they say. Yeah.
Cats tend to do this thing, that when they're just sound asleep, they'll just wake up and run out of the room. Just randomly.
Like they're being called.
Yes. Although I would argue, and I'm sure you're going to agree with me after I say this, we have a friend who does that. Anthony does that. So I don't know if that's a purely cat trait, because it's been many years, but I've seen our friend Anthony just stand up during the middle of a movie in a living room and just leave and be gone for like 2 hours.
That is true. So
I always just assumed that he was like a hitman or something, maybe, and had like
still had
a case or an assignment.
He had an assignment. He had to get you, and then he came back, and
or just
cleaned
a
up people like
spy,
John
just
Wick,
like the cat.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, so
Look at all of these theories.
Yeah, let's not theorize Anthony's real profession. Let's
Yeah, no,
stick
we
to
don't
the
need to
cat.
know that. Cats is aliens. Got it. Cats is
Yeah,
aliens.
so that's the bulk of my information on cats having alien-like qualities.
I mean, I
I
can
think
see
that
it. Yeah.
I think that you can say that, physically in appearance and in their like abilities,
Mannerisms, yeah.
yeah, that they have some things that other creatures do not have, that do not do. I think the purr is a big one for me because it's so mysterious,
Also, they have a complete disregard for most people and other things.
Oh
Like
yeah,
they're just here
totally
for themselves.
disconnected.
So
Yeah.
they aren't like, oh, I'm gonna try and get you to like me. Like maybe, but they might just do that to listen in.
Yeah.
So
It's hard to track a cat's motives. I will say that because despite the fact that I feel very comforted by my cat, I do think that a lot of times he follows me around the house because he thinks I might feed him.
Oh yeah. Oh, for
And
sure.
as a
They
result,
definitely
I
have
have to
different
assume,
motives.
his motivation isn't necessarily that he wants to make me feel loved. It's more that he wants sustenance. I mean,
yeah, for sure.
I can
It's
also
more
make
about
the argument.
self-preservation.
Yeah, he does sit next to me on the couch quite often, and maybe he's not an alien, or maybe he's descended so far from the alien cats that he's kind of lost a little bit of that and become connected to the Earthlings.
Could be. It's
I
been a
don't
long time.
know.
If it's from Egyptian times, if that was
Yes,
they were regarded very highly. So,
yeah,
they could have de-evolved at this point into lesser beings. We
it's
don't know.
possible. I think that's possible. I think that while maybe you could say that cats are still coming from their alien planet, maybe there are new
New
alien
ones.
cats.
Could be.
This guy that I've got, he was a kitten, so I would say unlikely that he was born on an alien planet.
He was probably born here, but what does that say
Yes.
about our planet if the cats went from highly evolved to lesser evolved while
I
they're
don't
here?
know. That sounds
So,
like a
just
totally
saying.
different conspiracy theory to make the argument. I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Idiocracy.
Oh God, yes.
But
Yes.
I think we
Too
can
many things relate at this
argue
point.
that yes, that some of the things in that movie are becoming alarmingly similar to the world that we live in
I
today.
think alarmingly is an excellent choice of word there, but
Yeah.
I would agree. So I love it. Cats as aliens.
Cats
I
might
love
be
it.
aliens. I like
It
to
could
call
be
it catspiracy.
catspiracy. Ooh,
Yeah.
I like it. That's good. That's good. That should
So
go on a
tell
shirt
me,
somewhere.
catspiracy, yeah. So tell me
Like it.
about your conspiracy theory.
So I was watching a movie with one of the twins, my boy twin, and I thought, okay, let's where did these crazy Transformer Rise of the Beasts come from? And I was like, I'm looking into the Hollow Earth conspiracy that there's
Oh,
actually another sun and another whole world right beneath our feet. So vegetation,
wow.
animals, all kinds of crazy things. So I
Oh,
went back and did some research because, why not? And the theory starts back in like the 1700s with an astronomer named Edmund Halley, which you will know based on Halley's Comet because he had
I was
tracked the
gonna ask
path.
that.
Same. So had valid theories that came to fruition. Also
Okay.
thought that perhaps the Earth was a shell. There was other beings and other concentric shells within the Earth underneath us. So
Whoa.
dates back long, long ago. Um, and then there's been multiple different books written about this. There was another explorer in the 1800s named John Sims, who spent actually most of his life convincing people that the Earth was just a series of different shells with miles of different worlds of plants and vegetation and animals. And he actually tried to make an expedition and nearly did to venture into what he called Sims Hole. The whole concept in general is that the Earth is a shell and the walls are 800 miles across or thick, but the polar regions are actually entrances to the center of the Earth.
Okay.
That are like 1,400 miles across, but you can't see the entrances because they're under the water, under things. Like you'd have to go into whatever is covering it to be able to get into the center of the Earth. So
Okay.
yeah, so that's the theory. There was a book written, I don't know, that's actually called The Hollow Earth back in like the 70s. But it's become a popular rumor like, you know, throughout different centuries. So 1700s, 1800s, 1900s, even, you know, as recently as Godzilla and King Kong, the movie, they had scenes that were animal, you know, creatures living in the center of the earth.
Yeah.
Transformers Rise of the Beasts, there were animals, living beings in the center of the earth. So it's
Wow.
now in pop
Yeah.
culture,
Yeah.
and things like that. Yeah, but there was a book in 1913 actually called A Journey to uh the Earth's interior, so center of the Earth, and it claimed that there was another sun inside the Earth, and also claimed that the center of the Earth was actually inhabited by prehistoric species, and that's where Bigfoot comes from, and that's where Yeti and the Abominable Snowman come from, and
Oh.
they're all actually living in these ancient underground tunnel systems that you only see them when they actually come to the surface, but they live
Wow.
in the hollow earth. So, yeah, I have nothing to justify this. I just thought it was a crazy, interesting concept to be
I
like, all
love it.
right, this keeps recurring every, you know, like 60 to 80 years, you know, every 100 years, somebody's like, maybe this is true. Let's go check it out. Let's see. What can we what can we find? Where can we you know, how can we explain away Bigfoot? Well, he doesn't really live on the top of the earth. He lives in the earth. So that's why. So it's actually like it could be a shell for other conspiracy theories too, because they can all interact with where did the Loch
Yeah.
Ness monster go? Well, there's an inner lake in the middle of the earth that maybe that's where, you know, Nessie is hiding out. So
Yeah.
we don't know. Maybe it's a party of all of those creatures that, you know, only come up once every, you know, 100 years, and then
I
they go back
love
to
it.
where they live in the center of the earth.
I love it.
So
That's
so
a
that
good one.
that's mine. But yeah, I researched, you know, there's so many crazy conspiracy theories out there
Oh
that
yeah.
it's hard to pick just one. Like,
Oh
yeah.
yeah. Oh yeah. And I mean, it's amazing. I mean, we went kind of off the wall, but it's amazing what you can learn about that you then almost convince yourself might be true. That
Oh,
you read
yeah.
enough about something and you spend even just a
Mm-hmm.
few minutes reading about it and you
And
kind
you're
of
like,
start to be like, wait a
maybe
second.
it's right. Like
That's
maybe,
really interesting. Like you're like, that's a really
right?
compelling argument.
Yeah, there's I think I had Googled like the craziest conspiracy theories, and some of them were just like the moon landing was fake and like the government was
Sure.
behind JFK's
Yeah.
assassination, like the
Yeah.
usual things. But
Right.
like, um, yeah, there's so many. And then the one I thought I read was interesting was about Walt Disney, that somebody claimed Disney created the movie Frozen so that when you Googled Disney and Frozen, you would get the movie instead of the theory that Walt Disney himself was cryogenically frozen, which
Yeah.
was a theory that's been tossed around
I
for
love it.
ever too. And they're like, well, that's why if now if you look up Frozen and Disney, it's a movie. There's no
Mm-hmm.
evidence of this cryogenic, you know, freezing. But and it's always other stuff like, you know, things about the Illuminati or other
Mm-hmm.
weird like underground things. So it was interesting like to read some of the things because you do read and you're like, huh, maybe that's true. And there's all these actors who are vampires because they never age. And I'm like, some of those I believe. Like
Yeah,
something is not
maybe.
right about
Right?
like Paul Rudd, possibly a vampire.
Oh,
Like
yeah,
there's
he
a
might be a
handful of
vampire.
actors that I'm like, hmm, Could be. And then you get all the, Bigfoot and all those things. And I'm like, that ties right in. They're all living just inside of the earth. So
Maybe
we're
that's where
good.
Paul Rudd came from.
Maybe
Maybe they have vampires there.
Could be. Yeah, we don't know. All these crazy things.
I'm sure you've heard, and this is just a fringe thing, but like I'm sure you've heard that people say like the NFL is rigged. Like games are rigged. It's all scripted, right? That's the current like theory about football. And my husband and I a couple weeks ago we were watching a game and the camera goes to this player on the defense for no good reason, for inexplicable, no reason, just goes to this guy. And I say to my husband, watch, he's about to get a sack. That's why they went to him. This is how we know that the NFL is scripted. It
was rigged.
And my husband is like, okay. And then the next play starts and he sacks the quarterback and takes him out of the game. And I was just like,
see?
Oh man.
I told you.
I was joking.
But look at that. But
yeah, I was just like, why'd they do that? And I know there's a delay on recording and being live. And so part of me was sort of like, maybe they did it. They flashed to a camera that was on the defense or whatever. Because there's always cameras on everybody and they just reorganized their filming in a weird way.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, frankly, I've given up on the NFL this year.
Yeah. So it's whatever.
The other things that I always think are interesting is when I get the articles of you can't ignore conspiracy theories anymore because people have been saying there's aliens for years, and then the government's like, yeah, there are. So there's things that have supposedly been just a conspiracy theory that eventually they're like, no, all those conspiracy theorists were totally right. Like these things happen. These things happen. These things are real. So
I take conspiracy theories with a grain of salt every time now. Like every once in a while, someone will be like, "Did you know?" And they'll say something crazy like the moon landing is fake, and I'll just be like, I don't know, maybe.
Right?
Like I just like I'm not gonna say it is fake. Because that seems, I've always heard the argument people make where if it was something about the government, the belief that literally no one who was involved would ever leak the truth is too unlikely. Like, there's always that argument that they make that, well, no, that can't be, because if it's like the government or even the NFL thing, like literally no one would ever show actual evidence that this is true. It can't be true. But I think that you used to be able to say that about aliens. So like
and even like government like the old my husband's super into some of the like old CIA conspiracy theories that turned out to have validity, like MK Ultra and using hallucinogenic drugs to like experiment on different people and their behaviors. Like that turned out to be at least partially true. Like there's evidence of it, and they initially just said whoever would go to the press, oh, they're crazy, they're lying, they're just trying to get something. But it wound up being like, no, like these people actually
that was real.
we're speaking the truth. So it's definitely, you have to take everything with a grain of salt these days. Probably not cats and aliens, probably not Bigfoot living in the center of the earth. But that's why those are more fun, because you're like, yeah, clearly these are not true. But there's so many that you're like, that could be true. Or maybe part of that is real because you just don't know. So yeah, it's definitely interesting. So
absolutely. I love it. I think it's fun. I enjoy when people share their conspiracy theories with me. So please feel free. If you have something good.
Conspiracy theories. I still love birds aren't real.
I also love birds aren't real.
Favorites.
There used to be a website where you could buy merch. And
Brandon has a sticker that's on his water bottle that says birds aren't real on it.
Yeah, and I really wanted there was a hoodie that said birds are not real, and I just really wanted it.
Yeah.
Just for fun. There's also shirts that say pigeons are liars.
I like that one even better. That's fantastic.
I just want a shirt that says pigeons are liars. Like, I don't even need to
I need to
sit there
write
and
that
have an
down.
argument with
Pigeons
you
are
about the
liars.
conspiracy theory.
No, I just want the
although
T-shirt.
my youngest does
Mhm.
believe that birds are not
Birds
real.
aren't real.
And if you're not careful, he will talk to you about it. He goes through this whole list. I think he watched a YouTube video at one point, and I know what you're going to say. That's a reflection on me as a parent. I get that. And I may or may not have been part of the person that showed him that video. I don't know.
You never know. There's
It's
such
a
a rabbit hole these
mystery.
days. They find all kinds of things. So could be, could
Yeah.
not, or it could just be that the devices are listening to us, which is true.
Yeah.
So not even a conspiracy.
That one.
Like
Not
that
a
actually is the
conspiracy.
case. Yes. Is it?
Yeah.
We should do a conspiracy theory or fact. Like,
Yes.
I like it.
What would be really fun, we should really definitely do this, is things that were considered conspiracy theories with like hundreds of years ago. You know, like the whole like sun goes around the earth.
Correct.
And
that the earth
like,
isn't the center of the universe.
That like stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And come up with a whole list of those. Try to put them in like chronological order.
The years. Yeah. I like that. Okay.
That might be fun. We could do that for our next wacky off-topic
I like it.
conversation.
I like it. Cool. All right. Well, let's drink this double IPA here before we, come up with any more crazy conspiracy
before we get
theories.
before we get hit by the government for talking about birds.
Before they shut us down. Yeah. They're not real. Yeah. They're spying on us.
Pigeons are liars, guys.
I like it. I'm gonna get that shirt.
I know, it's such a good one, right?
Are liars. Oh, all right.
All right. So what do we got here? We have a double IPA, one of my favorites.
Mine too.
Nice and coppery colored. Smells great.
Ooh. Really hoppy.
Yes.
Very like my mouth is full of flavor right now.
Yes. A lot of double IPAs have kind of a strong alcohol flavor. It does have that good kick to it. Not to be confused with like a New England. This is not a New England.
No, this is not.
And but has some of those characteristics that all double IPAs have, including New England's, where it's very hop forward. It's got a nice like creamy head to it. Just smells it smells
great. The flavor sticks with me though. Like some beers, like you take a sip and like it dissipates quicker. I feel like this one actually stays on my taste buds a little bit longer than some others that I've had. Like you're getting that continuous kind of taste. And the next sip just kind of enhances it, but I definitely feel like it dissipates slower than some other that I've had.
It's got some staying power.
For sure.
This is really good. This lager was really good.
This is
I would definitely put this in my
IPA,
fridge.
Yes, for sure. Yeah. I do. I mean, obviously, I love a double IPA. I love a New England IPA. They're different. Doubles are a little more hoppy. New Englands are sometimes a little creamier, but this is a really great flavor forward. Yeah, and it's a longer lasting flavor to me. It's got a great mouthfeel to it though too. And it's just a really good example of a double IPA, I think. I really like it.
Definitely.
Yeah,
this is
good job,
great.
Eric.
We'll keep up. Yes. Good job, Flipside. Keep putting out good beer. And I am gonna have to check out their menu because I would love to get a meal there sometime.
Yeah, I think I would love to take a visit and try whatever they've got on tap and just continue supporting and trying some new beers that they're putting out because these are both very solid, great tasting beers. So
absolutely,
I like what I'm seeing or tasting, I guess I should say.
Yeah, me too.
Awesome. All right, well, keep up with the conspiracy theories.
Feel free to share your favorites. I would love to hear them, especially if they're hilarious and off the wall. Those are some of my favorites.
Love it. Same. Yeah. Big
All
fan.
right.
So,
well, we'll catch you guys on the flip side, I guess.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone, for listening to the latest musings from Parenting by the Pint.
Be sure to find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and make sure that you rate, review, and subscribe to us wherever you find your podcasts.
Have a great week, and cheers to you all.